The woman accused of causing the death of her young nephew after leaving him in a hot car is scheduled to be back in court today. Sandra Miramontes is set to be arraigned this morning. Last month, cops say she forgot about the toddler when they say she left him in a sweltering car for 8 hours at the Albuquerque daycare center where she worked. Miramontes was indicted on a charge of child abuse negligently causing death. And Travis Regal, who pleaded guilty in June to an execution-style killing in the East Mountains, is expected to be sentenced today. Detectives say Regal and an accomplice tied up a man, beat him, and then shot him in the back of the head back in 2009. The accomplice, David McCarthy, was sentenced last year to 20 years in prison.
The man accused of scamming investors out of millions of dollars in the biggest Ponzi scheme ever in New Mexico set to head to prison today. Doug Vaughn is supposed to turn himself in later today after he was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison on Wednesday. Vaughn took a plea deal and admits he stole more than $75 million from friends who thought they were investing in his real estate company. A man who used to be a police sergeant in Albuquerque is now demoted and on desk duty this morning after the state said the police chief didn't punish him enough for his sexual misconduct. We got a hold of some notes from the Law Enforcement Academy Board saying Chief Ray Schultz didn't do enough to punish Sergeant Dennis Barela here after he was caught sending naked pictures of himself to women, having sex on the job, and playing sexual pranks on co-workers. The chief demoted Barela to being a patrol officer and suspended him for a week, but then the chief changed his mind and let Barela go back to work right away. Law Enforcement Academy Board says Barela got too big of a break, so now he is on desk duty for 4 months.
A group who wants to raise Albuquerque's minimum wage is taking the matter to court to get the city to put the question on the November ballot. The group, called Olay, collected 26,000 signatures, more than enough to force a public vote. But before that happens, the city council has to vote on it, and that is not happening because there's a typo on the petition.
There is a state law that requires that the governing body produce and pass an election resolution in order for the city clerk, me, to have an election.
Olay wants a judge to order that the minimum wage question go on the ballot. The group wants to raise minimum wage from $7.50 to $8.50 an hour. We'll, of course, keep you posted on what ends up happening. This morning, it looks like Santa Fe City Manager Robert Romero might be off the hook. We have learned that there will be no criminal investigation into whether he may have fixed parking tickets for himself and friends. A whistleblower recently came forward with those allegations. Now, that person also claimed that the police chief knew what was happening when he was the director of human resources. Both Romero and the police chief deny any wrongdoing. State police says the matter is not a criminal one. The city has now asked an outside auditor to do an administrative investigation.
A longtime attorney from Albuquerque and former state Supreme Court justice is going back to the state's top court. Governor Susana Martinez is appointing Paul Kennedy to fill Patricio Serna's seat because he's retiring. Kennedy was a justice for a bit back in 2002 and says he will run for a full term in November. Well, today's your chance to help save the lives of people who keep us safe each and every day.
Yes, you know, 6.5 years ago, Bernalillo County Sheriff Deputy James McGrain Jr. lost his life in the line of duty, and since then, his parents' mission has been to help law enforcement officers be better trained. Our News 13's David Romero is live at the Elks Lodge in southeast Albuquerque, where there is going to be a benefit that is going to take place today. And David, good morning. How is the family planning to use the money that is raised here?
Well, good morning, Elizabeth. This all goes to special training classes for law enforcement to protect them in the line of duty when danger presents itself.
It's a small price to pay for something that provides so much.
To save lives. That's why we do it. We get so much positive feedback from officers that we meet on the street.
The James McGrain Officer Street Survival Training is going into its 7th year, giving law enforcement extra tools to stay safe. The total cost to put on the Officer Survival Training Seminar each year comes out to about $35,000. Jim and Rita McGrain started gathering funds for the program not only to honor their son's life and sacrifice, but to keep other families from living the same nightmare.
We haven't had an officer-involved shooting where an officer is injured or killed in a routine traffic stop since 2006. And stop and think about that. Our son was the last one. And that's why we have to continue the training.
The fundraiser itself not only provides money for the program, but incentives for the public who come out and give their support.
We got a tremendous amount of items for a silent auction. We got great items for a raffle.
All in the name of protecting those who protect us.
It never ends. I mean, we never thought it would be to the point we're at.
And if you're looking to come out to today's fundraising dinner, it's going to happen from 4:30 this afternoon until 9 tonight. This is at the Elks Lodge, which is on the northeast corner of Yale and Gibson, just a little bit north and east of there. It's off of Sentry southeast. And, of course, they're going to have brisket and beans and salad and all kinds of good food. And hot dogs for the kids. Now, admission, or rather the donation for adults, is about $15. It's $7.50 for kids 6 to 12. And, of course, the little ones 5 and under get in free. And, of course, as Mr. McGrain mentioned, a lot of good raffling auctions for items for auction and raffle.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like there's a lot of good stuff to take advantage of. And again, as you mentioned, it all goes for a great cause. Thank you so much, David. By the way, Deputy McGrain's killer, Michael Astorga, was sentenced to life in prison earlier this year.